Alright, how's it going everybody? Name's Yeet, and in this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the high-grade 1:144th scale Gundam Hajiroboshi from the Iron-Blooded Orphans spin-off game, Urder Hunt. This kit was released on August 7th, 2020, contains about 6 runners, and should cost you about $16. So for me personally, the Hajiroboshi's been bamboozling me ever since it was revealed in that teaser image way back in 2018. Many fans of the series thought it was a teaser for Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans Season 3, which got me pretty hyped. Iron-Blooded Orphans was an amazing anime, and I really wanted to see what they would do with Season 3, but unfortunately, it wasn't. What we got instead was some mobile game that I can't even play because it's Japan only. So, it's safe to say that, I was pretty bummed. But hey, at least this came out of it. So let's take a look at it, shall we? Alright, so funny story about this guy. He was the first Gundam model I built after an almost year-long hiatus. Before this, I was going on a nostalgia trip trying to build up my Bionicle collection again. So having to transition from balls and sockets to nippers, spray paint, epoxy putty, and nail files was kind of rocky. I was so out of it I didn't even buy my paints before it arrived like I usually do for new models. So it was just sitting there, unopened for a few days until I decided to stop being lazy and get some. Once I actually started the building process, everything was fairly standard, until I got to the painting. I ended up picking up the wrong shade of purple and it ended up looking like the Chimaris. So I had to go all the way back to the store, said screw that paint, got some white paint instead, and now it looks amazing. So basically, Gunpla is like having sex. You gotta be prepared, because if you're not, mistakes happen. In terms of appearance, the Hajiroboshi is your standard protagonist mobile suit. He's well proportioned, has evenly distributed armor, nothing really crazy going on with the design. But that doesn't mean he lacks characteristics that make him unique. The large thrusters mounted on the back and ankles give him the appearance of a quick and agile machine, while the large shoulder pauldrons, unique V-fin, and choice in weaponry gives him an almost knightly air to him. As for the model itself, he has generous amounts of panel lining opportunities to keep it from looking plain. There's attachment points on the forearms and back to mount accessories and other things, and overall, it's fairly standard, in what we've come to expect from Bandai and the high-grade Iron-Blooded Orphans kits in general. But to any straight assembly plebs out there, you're in for a bumpy ride. Out of the box, this kit is very sticker heavy, and any Gunpla builder worth their salt knows that these stickers are total AIDS. They're ugly, they're a hassle to put on, depending on how they're applied, they peel away over time, and they are everywhere on this model. Not only that, there are some pretty noticeable hollow parts, main offenders being the ankle thrusters and the back skirt. So if you plan on buying this kit, I highly recommend you paint this guy and fill those hollow parts with some epoxy putty. Working our way down, the head uses a double ball joint so it can move back and forward and turn a full 360. He can look up, but looking down, not so much because the points in the front of his head rub up against the chest armor. Shoulder movement is hindered due to those pauldrons, but they do move out of the way when you want to move the arms. Speaking of which, the arms can move out very far. You get a swivel at the bicep, about a 45-degree bend at the elbow, and the wrists are on a ball joint so you can move them up, down, in, out, swivel, whatever you want really. The torso can move in and out, letting him do a rather limited ab crunch, and of course, a swivel at the waist. Moving to the legs, if you go to the waist, you can see there are some shifting hips. Those thrusters in the butt can move out of the way and also rotate outward. The kick is a bit hindered due to that front skirt armor, same thing goes with the back movement, but that almost non-existent side skirt allows him to do the splits unhindered. There's a rotation at the leg as well. The knee bend is really good, but because of that hindered kick, he won't be like that idiot Kaepernick and kneeling for the national anthem anytime soon. Unpatriotic piece of shit. The feet themselves are on a ball joint so they can move fairly freely in any direction and have a very wide pivot at the ankle. The ankle guards are on a hinge joint so they can move out of the way of the feet. The ankle thrusters are also on a ball joint so they can move fairly freely as well, but I would be cautious since they aren't on polycaps. The friction might make them loose with excessive movement. and like the ankle guards, the toes are also on a hinge, letting them move up and down. Overall, articulation is decent at best, but you won't be getting anything super dynamic, but you can still pull off some nice poses with him. The Hajiroboshi comes with your standard Gundam loadout, a gun, a melee weapon of some kind, and a shield. First, we'll look at his GAT. He uses a 110mm short-range cannon. It's a compact, generic, futuristic-looking gun, not very realistic in terms of how it will work, and will trigger some gun enthusiasts. But hey, it's anime, I can wave that off for a bit. The detailing's nice. There's a green sticker used for the optic, kinda looks like a prototype P90. Moving on. Next up, we have the Smart Mace. Unlike the Barbatos' dumb mace, the Smart Mace is special because it minimizes the strain of the mobile suit even when it is swung at full power. Also, you can check your Snapchat with it. Anyway, there really isn't much to say. It's a big old mace, you bop your enemies in the head with it, and you make them see Jesus sooner than they expect. Next. Last up has to be my favorite, the Crab Shield. Now this thing is pretty lit. Not only is it a shield, but this little nub on the center can come out and it becomes a drill. Not only that, you can flip out these little pincer things and the shield becomes a claw you can catch enemy mobile suits with. The whole point being that you catch the enemy with the claw and then send out the drill to, well, you know. Needless to say, I wouldn't want to be the poor bastard on the business end of this thing. Basically, the shield is awesome, and I want someone to make me a human scale one so I can scare all the leftists in my neighborhood who want to take my guns away. Also, these weapons can be stored on the Hajiroboshi itself, so no need to worry about losing anything. Weapon storage on a figure is always appreciated. In terms of height, the Hajiroboshi stands at a good 7.5 inches, making him slightly above average for a high grade. In comparison, here he is next to the high grade Barbatos 6th form, the NECA Alien Neomorph, Figma Tokitsukaze from Kantai Collection, Frame Arms Girl Architect, and my last project before this guy, the Master Grade Buster Gundam. So in the end, the Hajiroboshi is a great addition to the high-grade Iron-Blooded Orphans line, with a great design, decent articulation, and a good but small amount of accessories. And while yes, the hollow parts and heavy use of stickers does keep this from being a perfect kit out of the box, if it's your first time buying a Gundam model, the Hajiroboshi is not a bad place to start. So on a scale of 1 to 5, I would rate the high-grade Gundam Hajiroboshi a solid 4. Well, that's all for the showcase. Hope you liked the video, and if you did, make sure to hit that rumble button. If you're on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button. I haven't really figured out a schedule yet, but I'd like to be doing these showcases about every other week or so. So check out my parlor at xysnes64yx. I'd use Twitter, but then I got suspended and... Anyway, follow me there if you want to be updated on new showcases coming up and whatever edgy shenanigans I'm up to. This is Yeet, bidding you farewell. Last up has to be my favorite, the Crab Shield. Now this thing is pretty lit. Not only is it a shield, but this little nub on the center can... Oh no, I froze up again. No! Oh man.